Hey, what is up guys? It is your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be looking at Gunner's Troll Warlord. This hero and its Aghanim Scepter is maybe the best Aghanim Scepter change in the entire patch. I genuinely think that Ag's Troll Warlord will become one of the most top meta picks of the patch, and maybe one of the highest win rate heroes of the patch as people continue to refine this build. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let's quickly go over the Ags of Troll Warlord. It makes the ranged whirling axes dispel enemies, and it reduces cooldown and mana cost. Why is this huge for Troll? Because when you have the ability to dispel enemies, all of a sudden a lot of the Troll counters go out the window. You can purge Ghost Scepters and Glimmer Capes. You know, honestly, one of the biggest counters to Troll in general is just like Ethereal, right? Which I mentioned with the Ghost Scepter, but heroes like Pugna and Necrophos, right? He has counters to those heroes. Bloodlust, an ability that can, kite a Troll. Empower, right? Lets Troll man up. It purges all of these things. You have to keep in mind how many things that you can actually purge in Dota, and there's a lot. And a lot of them are things that frustrate Troll. Then, it also reduces the cooldown and mana cost down to 4 seconds and a 25 mana cost. Makes it very easy to spam. No mana problems at all. Well, very, very to little. And then you have Whirling Axis Melee, so your melee axes, the one that give mischance, causes melee axes to dispel Troll, reduces the cooldown and mana cost. So not only can they not be decrept or, Ghost Sceptered, you can't be decrept or Ghost Sceptered. I mean, there's still a 4-second cooldown, but it's much, much harder. So it gives the ability to do a lot of damage. You farm very quickly. At level 15, you have a 90 Whirling Axis damage talent, which is essentially an 180 damage talent for the nukes. And so yeah, this is an extremely good Ags. The build-up feels good on Troll, makes you very tanky. And so without further ado, as much as ranting as I've done, let's get into the gameplay and see how you execute on this. But by the way, before you get into the video, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel, as well as sign up to the gameleap website. I did do another analysis on Troll on the website, but I was like, this just feels like a YouTube video I want to make. So here we are. It's a YouTube video that I wanted to make, and let's get into it. Alright, for the mid lane, there's 2 builds you can go. You can go a Quelling Blade build. I have seen people do that. The reason being is when you hit level 2, you're going to take your axes, you can turn into melee, and then the Quelling gets usefulness. However, if you're in a winning matchup, let's say you're against a melee hero, like Tiny in this case, or maybe even an Ember, you think you can pressure them pretty hard, right? Troll is very good at harassing. It's very good to go a stats heavy build, right? Simple reason why. You right click for more damage. And so yeah, that's the idea here. He goes kind of like Wraithband based builds, right? A lot of stats, then, very standard items. And you're going to see using the ranged whirling axis, he's able to slow down this Tiny and just hit him. Now, keep in mind, if you're against a hero like Quap or Lina or Leshrac, you're probably not going to do this, right? This is not going to be your strategy. You're only going to use the ranged whirling axis to essentially secure range creeps, the occasional melee creep, and that's about it. It's a very simple lane. You're playing for farm against a lot of those heroes. Yes, I have actually seen games where like Topson on Troll will actually go for kills very early on after building up fervor stacks, but for the most part, it's just a lot of, CSing. Now, getting on into the laning stage, let's talk about your level 2 skilling. At level 2, if you are trying to crush a lane, it is good to take fervor, right? You slow, and you build up a ton of stacks. It's a very simple concept. However, if you're in a hard lane, why do you want to take Berserker's Rage? Well, it's not so you can turn into melee to CS, although I guess that's okay. What you really want it for is the bonus 15 movement speed, so you can get away from right clicks faster, and most importantly, 6 armor. You get 6 armor. That's insane. Like, it's literally insane. So every time an auto attack is coming in, you switch to melee and you just eat it up like a champ. It's pretty ridiculous. And this clip here really shows what fervor can do. Most players underestimate it, and it's not surprising. It's not like you're like, oh, Troll Warlord is gonna kill me with fervor at level 2. Like, that's not something that's normal, right? Most players will not expect it. So if you're in these favorable matchups, look at this. The Tiny goes for the range creep deny, and Gunner makes an interesting decision here. A very fascinating decision. He says, okay, take the range creep deny, which he gives to him. I'm going to hit you for like all of your HP. And that's exactly what we see. The fervor's built up, 6 stacks, 7 stacks, 8 stacks, nearly gets the kill, obviously has to back off in the end, but you can see how much damage he's doing to this Tiny, and that's the power of Troll. So as you're seeing here, this hero is incredibly flexible. So much so to the point where this hero, I genuinely mean this hero can be first picked. I would not be surprised if you see OG start first picking Troll. You can quote me on that now. teams in general are going to first pick Troll. This hero can be played in the safe lane. I literally think it can be played as an off laner. It can be played as a mid laner. It's good in bad matchups because it gets armor, and it's really good in good matchups, like favorable matchups, because it just completely zones them out. Now, this lane goes pretty crazy. I mean, it's a very crazy lane. A lot of kills going on. But yeah, he's able to get a kill here. Just completely mans up on this Tiny. The Tiny does go for the combo, but it is not enough to kill the Troll. And yeah, he just kind of just chops him down. Very well done. Extremely good attack moving to pick up the kill. By the way, in terms of items, he's going to go for a bottle. He went for the Wraith Band before the bottle. Once again, I know I keep going back to this idea of good lanes, bad lanes. If you're in a good lane, you can rush the Wraith Band just so you can auto-attack more, right? But if you're in a bad lane, the Wraith Band isn't going to help you too much. It's not like you need the attack speed yet. And so you should go for the bottle first to guarantee that you can sustain the lane. Then after that, he picks up a second Wraith Band and raindrops. Your hero needs a lot of mana to spam its spells early on, right, before you get that axe. Even with the axe, you do need it. Before you get the axe, so you really need the mana. And then, of course, the Wraith Bands are pretty simple. They give you attack speed, which helps you build up fervor, which then gives you more attack speed. Now, as the lane goes on, like later and later on, I'm not going to say Troll gets weaker, but essentially your hero, it's like hard to harass people as the lane goes on, unless it's like a very specific matchup. Like sometimes you can just like all in on SFs, like you can literally like flank the enemy mid SF if you happen to do well, but for the most part, Troll ends up like dying to a lot of magical damage spells, right? That's his biggest weakness, considering he's a high armor hero. And so, you know, as mid laners scale, Troll tends to fall off in terms of like the ability to trade, as far as I've seen. And so you want to then, like, once the game starts to scale on, you get towards that 6-7 minute mark, really focus on shoving the lane and then jungling, getting those neutral items, getting that farm up. Now, in this case, we're going to see the first gank of the game. And honestly, guys, it's really as simple as he got a haster, and so he's like, I'm going to gank. There's nothing else to look into with this gank. I guess you could say, oh, the target priority, you know, leads in with the slow, then pops his E right away just for the damage, goes for the ulti, gets extremely unlucky on the roots. Funny enough, the Mars also missed the spear. This ends up being quite the mess, but they get the kill nonetheless. But yeah, it's a really good rotation. What's cool about Troll is if you get off to a good start and you make these like haste rune ganks, you also can gank with like DDs. You could probably gank with a invis as well, but haste is by far the best when it comes to ganking. You can literally just take the tower, and that's what he did. Boom, bottom tower gone, ton of gold for his team, almost a 3k lead. And yeah, you could see how farmed he actually is right now. That's Troll in a nutshell. This hero farms so fast. It's insane how fast you farm. So moving on, I want to talk about kind of his item progression here. You're going to see in this game that he goes phase boots. Now, he already has his axe at this point, but I would like to say if you plan on fighting, you need phase boots. Like, what I mean by fighting is fighting in the first 15 minutes of the game. I really think you need phase boots. You can fight with treads, but like, I played the build a couple times, it felt like I was just getting kited, so treads are great for farming, they're much better for farming, they give you more mana, the attack speed and agility is much more damage, but yeah, if you're gonna fight, you need the phase boots, so I think that's why he went phase boots. Also, the enemy team has a lot of physical damage, so it's a good phase boots game in general. Now, the mid game is very simple in terms of farming. Anytime you walk up to a camp, lead in with your melee axes, then throw your ranged axes. And that's about it. You're just going to constantly farm. In this game here, he goes a very weird build. I will talk about the other build you can go quickly. But yeah, he goes Sange and Kaya. And his goal this game is to clearly frontline. Yes, you can build Troll as a frontliner. As I said earlier, I made a video on Troll for the website. And I show that this is a thing. But yeah, he is all inning on that idea. He's even buying an Eternal Shroud as his next item. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm not a huge fan of this build, to be honest. I'm a much bigger fan of the right-click builds, but I can totally see why players are at least trying this. I don't know if it will stick on. I personally don't think it will, but I definitely like the idea of going a hood. Nonetheless, the purpose of this build is to frontline, and you'll see that that idea continues throughout this game. With the whirling axes, you kind of just run in and have like a constant 100% miss chance. Now, no, it's not actually 100%. However, it's a 60% miss chance. That's permanent uptime. Yes, you heard that right. It is literally permanent uptime. So heroes like Lycan cannot hit you at all. They never can hit you. Their units never hit you. So upcoming here, we're going to see where the build really starts to come online. He's got the Shroud, he's got his Sanshakaya Ag, super tanky. Also even got a Dragon Scale just to add a little bit of regen and armor on. On top of that, he took the 20 evasion talent, which is hilarious. You literally cannot get touched by right-clickers. It's genuinely comical how effective this build is. And yeah, just walking in a Roche. The enemy team knows he's here. He knows that they know he's here. He doesn't care. He just walks it in. like, you don't need to carry. You're so tanky. It's 30 HP regen, right? 30. By the way, that's not amped by anything. I mean, what, Vlad's maybe? No, Vlad's doesn't give HP regen. Okay, Royal Jelly, you know, like, nice. And Dragon Scale, to be fair. But yeah, he just walks it in. Nice Naga Song to secure the Roshan, and he just runs in here, secures the kill into the Beastmaster. He understands how imperative Beastmaster is for this team comp. It's very right-click heavy team comp, so killing the Beastmaster is a nice option. Gets him inside of the Mars Arena, onto the Tiny. You can see there he wanted to purge a Tiny's Ghost Scepter, right? That's what's really cool. You could just straight up purge that with your ranged axes. Unfortunately, he did get used, but he just cleans up on the fight. And that's what this troll does. It kind of just slowly chips you down. It doesn't do some insane amount of right-click damage. You're not bursting people instantly. You kind of just are this insane frontliner that no one can touch, and you just chase people down the entire fight. The next tip I want to give, even though it's very, very simple, I think it's just important. One thing that I see a lot of players struggle with, or, you know, an idea that holds them back, is the idea of just spamming your spells. The whole reason you buy these items is to literally spam your nukes. And what I'm afraid of, and what I know will happen, is people are going to go these builds, and they're not going to spam the axis off cooldown. It doesn't matter if you need the mischance. It doesn't really matter if you need the dispels. Just use them off cooldown. Use them off cooldown. This fight breaks out, goes on the Wraith King. He's like, I don't want to go for the Wraith King. But you're going to notice he's essentially constantly just spamming his spells over and over and over again. And the reason why I say this is I do watch a lot of, even Guess the Rank. One of my biggest critiques is people just do not cast their spells. If you have a spammable spell like Zeus Q or Troll Ulti and your hero is, you know, built around it or does a lot of damage because of it, you need to spam it. So just keep that in mind when you're playing Troll. Make sure these spells are being spammed, whether or not it's fighting or farming. You can see even when walking up to the creep wave here, he's going to preemptively pop his E just to get it up and off cooldown, like literally way before the wave. But this is an efficiency thing. If he pops it when he's in the middle of the wave, it's going to come up later when he needs it next. It has a long duration, just use it early. This includes fighting and farming. It's just an important idea. And now let's take a look, one last look at a team fight here. I really love how he uses the axis onto multiple enemies, and let's really see what I'm saying. So as he runs into this fight, the enemy team has a lot of right-click damage, right? And so it's very effective for him to spread his damage. He's not really going to burst people. The typical troll would want to do what in a team fight, guys? You would want to hit the same person, just kill them, right? You want to build fervor stacks ASAP. This troll doesn't, I mean, it kind of does that for roots, but it doesn't really do that. So as he goes in here, he's like, Wraith King, I don't want to run out Wraith King. That's not worth my time. So he runs past the Wraith King, gets the mischance onto the Beastmaster, and then the Lycan as well. And now the entire enemy team is going to be missing for 60%, right? 60%, and it's really good. And on top of that, the overwhelming blink here is so much damage. It's so much damage with the help of the axis. And look, Oracle goes for the Glimmer. Hey, too bad you're going to get trolled, kid. Boom, Glimmer broken. Disarm comes out, but whatever. You know, it's literally a perma slow for like 1,000,000%. So obviously the Oracle ends up getting saved. It's a very high MOR game. Well played by the enemy team, but typically, if you get on top of supports with these blinks, right, and blink late game is very good. Even mid game, I've seen a lot of trolls buying a third, fourth item with this build. It's incredibly good. But yeah, E after E after E goes on to the Oracle. Once again, you can just frontline. Like when Control usually play like this, never. But he's just forcing out tons of spells, tons of buybacks, tons of attention. He's incredibly tanky because he has magic resist, right, from the Eternal Shroud and spell lifesteal, as well as plenty of armor, all the way up to 30. And yeah, the fight, eventually, they just get out-sustained. I mean, how funny is that? Getting out-sustained by a troll. I mean, usually you can turn fights, but like, just straight up out-sustained, it's just a funny idea to me. But nonetheless, unfortunately, I think he ends up living here. Yeah, this was hilarious. Look at this. This is so funny. He ends up winning this. He gets his TP canceled. But look, because he gets his E off, he gets spell lifesteal, he has 30 regen, and he just tanks through a Tiny combo with like 600 HP. Like, think about that. Tiny combo doesn't more than that. It did get nerfed, so sadly old Tiny might have killed him, but the double E-blades come out, ranged axes to cancel the E-blade and just slow him in general, and then the overwhelming blink to finish it off. Very well done by Gunnar. He is the rank 4 player in NA. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed and consider playing this build. No, it's not a meme. I genuinely believe that, you know, pro teams are going to be picking this and first phasing it. I do think it has that much potential. And the reason why I think it has that much potential is for the reasons I described earlier. It's just flexible. It's essentially always good because it's just like a reliable hero that is good early game. It's good mid game. It's good late game. Has a good laning stage. Like, it's just always good. You know what I mean? And I don't think a lot of heroes can like say that or do that. And so, yeah. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and peace.
But yeah, that's going to be about all, folks. Remember, click the link down below and subscribe to the Game Leap website where we have thousands of videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.